Hello YouTube, hello everyone. This is DrKartoffelsalat and we're here back in Kerbal Space Program to get going in with this very young space program still. And of course I opened a probe that we built in the last live stream. Reason being, I have, of course, I'm playing here in a science mode with the Unmanned before Man Tech Tree and Kerbal Construction Time. And I do have one of these probes, the exact same like this built. We already launched this one, or the same type of this rocket and probe to the moon, but it kind of failed a bit. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking that I might just launch another one of these, since I do have it ready to go right now. So I guess that will be what we will do now. I won't save this because I already got that. Having a quick look at the, if it loads, here we go. Having a quick look at the tracking station, of course. And we will see that I do have my two probes here in Kerbal orbit. Our first probe we ever launched here is the Heimdall in its nice elliptical orbit. And the Freya in its polar orbit, both looking very good and functioning perfectly fine. However, this is the Loki probe that we already sent out. We're gonna warp to the, we're gonna quickly go to that once. But first we're gonna go to the Frick. The Frick probe we sent last time. And, well, it was kind of failed, right? So this is here, it does not have any probe, any antenna to transmit data. We lost a couple of experiments and yeah, it's kind of broken. Oh yeah, welcome. Annihilator, well, I mean, this is a kind of a repurposed channel. I used to own this channel for quite a long time. I used to put up some different content on here, that's why I still have some subscribers left from back in the day. So yeah, this was a total failure, so we have to do something about that. So we have to send another probe that has basically the same mission, getting data from the ground of the moon. Let's go back to the tracking station and I guess have a quick look at the Loki probe that we already have in orbit, but it has failed us somewhat. Here we go. Yeah, this is the probe that we used. The antenna broke and I cannot repair that. The probe body broke. I cannot repair that. And we pretty much gathered all the data we could get from this point here. So this is of course pretty bad. I do not have much fuel left. This has about 60 meters per second left. So I can't even try to deorbit it. If I try to deorbit this, let's see what 60 meters per second would give us. So this is about 60 meters per second. This would still bring us into a 50 kilometer orbit. Oh, you downloaded CCAN. Well, that is a good idea. I don't use CCAN. I install all my mods manually, but I understand that CCAN does help quite a bit. However, I'm not playing the latest version, of course, and I have to manually keep track of any dependencies that some mods have, and there is sometimes, that's the reason why I'm still on 1.4.2. Some of the mods I like to use are not properly working in 1.4.3, and the performance is pretty bad for me as well, so that's why we're here. Yeah, so this is something that we will have to resend. This is pretty much useless, and let's go back to the Space Center. And the good thing is we do have already one Loki build, so I'm just gonna roll that out here. We're gonna bring that thing to the moon, VAB, and let's roll out that Loki. Here we go. Rollout is finished, and we have a beautiful day to launch. Now this time I'm gonna make a quick hop into the tracking station, because I do not want the same thing happen to me again, that I have an eclipse or any weird stuff that might stop us from having a good sight of what we're doing. But it looks good. We should have plenty of time until we're about here, where it's pretty hard to see anything. So that's pretty good. Let's go back, and we can go to the probe that is on the launch pad, or the rocket maybe, and launch. That's a quick launch today. No rockets need to be built yet, but of course there is no guarantee that this one will work perfectly. So before we do anything, let's check the staging. These look good. This is good. Perfect. Good. Yep. So I'm gonna just move this a bit, and I think I'm ready for launch. Activate SAS, throttle up, open up the results panel, and ignition. Everything's looking good. Release the launch clamps. $60 meters per second. Let's start our tilt towards 90 degrees here. I'm gonna try to keep that pitch for now, and I'm gonna throttle back a bit because we're about to get supersonic here, and we don't want to lose too much of our fuel to aerodynamic drag. And I think we can throttle back up about now. And if everything goes well, we get this probe finally working into orbit of the moon. Getting some heating here and separation. The Korolev cross, sometimes it seems to, I have to check on these. Maybe one of these is overperforming or the other ones are underperforming. Of course, I want to keep an eye on my apoapsis here. I need to gather some more speed. I want to be careful here. Heating effects have stopped, so I can deploy the periload fairings. That looks pretty good. And we're in orbit. Not in orbit, but we are in space with our apoapsis. So we're going to try to keep it around the 150 kilometers mark and just try to get some more velocity out of this stage. There we go. Separation. Goodbye stage. We don't have to do anything yet. Have a quick look. So we have a 100 and almost 60 kilometer apoapsis. At our apoapsis we want to circularize. This is going to take about 560 meters per second. Let's get to our marker here, which is pretty good, and extend the solar panels. Extend these. Okay, looking good, and we're gonna warp here. One thing I missed here, of course, is engine ignition. 39 seconds, so we do have some time. And if everything goes right, we can pretty much get a good moon orbit here. So And by the way, I'm using better burn time here. This is a nice plugin that gives me proper readouts for the burn time and my notes, and a nice counter on here indicated. If I approach the last of these dots, I'm supposed to burn. Like you're gonna see right now. And ignition. This is gonna take us to orbital velocity, and of course after we achieved orbit we're gonna plot for the moon. In the meantime I'm gonna just extend this antenna. This is already 4th generation antenna, so I hope that this will not break, but we will see about that. And about 100 meters per second left. Throttle back a bit. And 50, 40. Don't want to overshoot too much or waste too much fuel. That's good enough, I guess. Let's see. 158, 150. Wow, this is a really good orbit here. Okay, let's zoom out. There's the moon. And if you haven't watched the last time where I explained how to get to the moon easily, basically you want to get into a parking orbit. I usually take around 150 kilometers or 120, something like that. And then you'll have a look where the moon is. You want it to be to your right, basically, and then you're going to pick the point that is at the bottom here, at the maneuver node, and burn prograde. This is certainly might not be the most efficient way to get to the moon. There you see, we have our moon encounter. Might not be the most efficient way to get there, but it certainly is the easiest. If I focus my view on the moon, of course, I can see how my orbit is looking right now, or my my orbit basically, or my trajectory. Right now I would be on a crash course with the moon. I want to keep that, so my stage that I carry with me for the transfer will get destroyed, and I just want to get that going a bit further so I don't have to use as much fuel. Okay, this looks pretty good. Gonna keep this, so we have our node in 14 minutes. Let's get to the marker. Hello Jimmy, yes I am German. Indeed. Here we go. Doing a nice backflip here in space. And activating RCS just to stop that rotation. Here we go. Alright. Now, can I... No, I can't. It's the only problem with the whole system they have here. I'm just trying to warp here. Thank you. Here we go. 46-second burn, so 23 seconds before the node, 23 seconds after the node you want to burn. Roundabout. Since you cannot deliver the full meter per second in an instant. So that's why you want to burn a bit before the node you plotted and a bit after. And you should get your desired orbit, approximately. Or your desired trajectory here. You can see this is the moon. Back there, this should be Duna, and this should be Minmis. This, of course, is Distant Object Enhancement, which will show me other planets as a real size here on my screen, which is, or at the size they would appear on my screen, which is really nice. Not sure which one this is, but this is also... which one would that be? No idea. Cool though, very cool. Okay, let's have a look. I have to burn in about 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna already start burning a bit. And here we go, full throttle. gonna try to keep, this is hard to see here, just gonna try to keep my spacecraft pointed at the marker. And I'm gonna have to watch out that my orbit that I try to achieve here is actually about right. So I'm just gonna have this view on, so I make sure that my stage will crash into the moon and be destroyed on impact. Here we go, and throttle back a bit, 130 meters per second left, 80. And in a second I should see, there we go, there it is. Of course, I have a big problem with my calculation here. I have to flip that orbit, so I'm just gonna keep burning until that orbit flips. There we go. So I'm coming in the right direction for the moon. Here we go. I flipped that orbit, and let's go a bit retrograde. You see that I'm using RCS right now to rotate my spacecraft, and this is changing my orbit massively already here. Oh, a bit finicky. Okay, this is about right. Oh yeah, I'll have that. Okay, so it's time to say goodbye to our stage. Let's rotate around and goodbye. We said goodbye to our stage, and we are just that decoupling brought us into a 60-kilometer periapsis at the moon, which is perfect. I just have to circularize now. And circularize. About 200 meters per second. We have 800 meters per second in this stage, so plenty of fuel. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna warp here, because we don't really have much light. And look at that. We are getting away from Kerbin. And this lovely little probe will extend all the antenna. Here we go. And let's extend this as well. Might as well. Yep. That's looking really good. That's looking really good. I'm sorry, I'm not able to build a space shuttle since I do not have the parts unlocked yet in this science mode. But I plan to build a space shuttle type thing later on, probably, because reusability is something that I have to look into, since even though I'm not playing a career mode, I'm playing science mode. There is the possibility that there is something that, if we recover parts, that we will save on construction time here with the Kerbal Construction Time. Okay, so this is about a minute burn, so 30 seconds. And I'm just noticing that I do have a problem when I try to burn there. As you would say here, that would put me directly on the side of the moon that will block me from having connection with the Kerbal Space Center. So I'll have to burn around here, I guess, to circularize. It would give me a 120 kilometer orbit, which is still pretty good. A bit more delta V needed, but I guess that's all right. So get to the maneuver point here, and now I haven't, this is the escape, this is the, okay, so we want to do our maneuver about here. I really don't care if you chat in English or German. I don't have any problems with that, but I will most likely respond in English, just so everyone can understand what I'll say. 3 minutes till the maneuver node, and we have about 40 seconds before where we should execute our burn. So let's just warp a bit more and see that we get this orbit. And so far nothing has broke, and that's pretty good. Here we go, back to real time. Of course, we do have some science experiments with us. I don't think that there is any science experiments we can actually do, because I think we already got them with the first probe. However, this is still a relay satellite, and this is the more important part for me here. I want that relay satellite here. So, let's see. Yeah, have fun. KSP is a phenomenal game. Also, keep in mind, later on there is supposed to be the first launch of the Falcon 9 Block 5. That will be around 8:30 Greenwich Mean Time, or 9:30 p.m. Central European Summer Time. Here we go. We're executing our burn. I might stream that whole stream of the Falcon 9. I don't know yet. I'll see about that. So, our orbit is coming good and well. We have captured around the moon. And we will have plenty of delta V left to maybe change our inclination again. But I'll think I keep it for now. Okay. A few seconds left on that burn. And throttle back. I want to try to get this about right. And now I might have to chase that maneuver node here a bit. Oh, yep. That's okay. 2 point. That's about right. That's okay. 115 by 120. I'm fine with that. And apparently that other Loki probe is functioning as a relay still. That's fantastic. That is absolutely stellar. So the probe I have down here, the almost defunct probe, even though the antennae are broken according to the thing, it still functions as a relay. So you see the signal from that probe is getting bounced here and back to my space center. Of course, I do have the ComNet turned on. This is why I'm very concerned or anxious to get this working. Which this does mean we can land on the dark side of the moon, or the bright side in this case, because we're about to have an eclipse here on Kerbal. So that means we can land here while it's a lunar day on the far side of the moon, and still have a signal from the Loki probe here relayed to our ground stations and the Deep Space Network. That is pretty amazing. Fantastic. So I'd call it, even though we don't get any science here, I call this mission a complete success. And it was a good idea from our engineers to build a second probe, I guess. Okay, now this is great, and we're gonna go back to the Space Center. Here we go. And our Space Center turned black again. This is, I think, a bug in Scadera or one of the visual mods I use. I just have to go to the to another scene, which the VAB is another scene, and I should be fine. And we want to go to the VAB anyway to build the next the greatest next probe. Actually, no, we want to finish our research. So, Kerbal Construction Time, of course, means that when I do some science or research to get new parts, it takes time. And right now, if we have a look here, I have electrics almost finished. And I want to finish them, because this will unlock some more nice parts for probes here. They'll be finished around about now, and then I can have a quick look into the R&D building. We're unlocking electrics, which will give us electrostatic science, some more batteries and probe bodies, and the radioplasma wave science experiment, which is pretty cool. Also some more solar panels and antenna. That's pretty cool. Okay. So, Kerbal Construction Time, here we go. The launch pad is being reconditioned, I'm fine with that. Back to the VAB. Of course, this is the probe we just launched, of course, on our Anubis launch vehicle, which is based on the Russian Soyuz, or at least loosely based on the Russian Soyuz. And we're just gonna make a new probe. We did get a new probe body here. Let's have a quick look what that is. It is interesting. It's a larger, heavier, more rugged probe bus for longer voyages. The bus design allows a hollow center where we installed a monoprop tank. Okay, so this is basically a probe core with monoprop inside, but no reaction wheels. Or just I guess, very weak reaction wheels. Okay. This is a good probe core for like a deep space probe if we want to send one. However, it's a pretty early right now, and I don't think that we do have quite a capability yet in terms of our propulsion systems to send a deep space probe. Looking at which, in theory, we might have. I don't know, but of course. We sent a lander to the moon which failed. And let me quickly grab that actually. That was the Frick, I think. Let's have a quick look. Was that the one that failed? Oh god, I'm ripping everything apart here. It doesn't... What is going on? Okay. Let's just do it like that. Yeah, that's the one we sent. And that broke on landing because we had a landing attempt during an eclipse. And we couldn't see anything, so that wasn't great. And I think the overall design could be improved upon. So we don't save that one. Let's have a quick look into ground. Do I have landing struts? I do. Okay. We do have landing struts, so we could send the Octo, the thingy here as a lander as well. Because that one is quite a bit larger. This one, I think that's better for like a satellite type or... and this one, yeah, it's not bad. Hang on. Let's have a look. This is the B core and this is the lander. Right, the B core is for orbital. Okay, this is for orbital. Yeah, no, we're gonna use the parts how they're supposed to be. These parts, by the way, are from the Probes Plus pack. Again. So we sent a larger lander which failed, so let's just send a smaller lander first to get initial science from the moon. We're just gonna make this very, very easy, because there's no need to make this complicated, as really moon landings shouldn't be that hard. They are not that complicated. Getting to the moon, as I just showed you, is really fairly simple once you understand how the mechanics in Kerbal Space Program work, you can pretty much nail that moon transfer every damn time. And once you get that one down, all you need to do really is just get the landing. And sticking the landing is a bit more complicated, especially if you don't have the SAS controls, which this does not have. This has just basic stability SAS, but I cannot point it like retrograde. And if you land, you basically just want to be pointed retrograde and bleed off some horizontal and vertical velocity until you're basically dropping down dead to the ground, and then just kill all your rest of the velocity and just try to make a soft landing. Fuel tanks. We're gonna use a procedural liquid tank here because we don't need much fuel on this small lander actually. So just gonna make a very, very small tank here. Like that probably. This has about, well, maybe a bit longer. This is about right. Could use a little bit less diameter, I guess. And a better texture. Yeah, I don't care. It's all pretty ugly, to be honest. These textures, these are pretty nice. These are textures from procedural textures mod that just was released a few weeks ago, which adds these fantastic textures to the decoupler shroud and the procedural parts pack, and this makes it look quite a lot better. Engines. Now, in terms of engines, I want to stick with either the Ant or the Spider, since these are the ones I do have the most experience on. If I take that, I have 1,000 meters per second, so that sounds about good for me. Just gonna make it like that so it looks a bit better. And science. Let's take all the science we can get here. Okay, these are antennae, so this is for a satellite more or less. This is not suitable for a landing, but we can put on the barometer and the thermometer, of course. These are the two basic instruments we always should carry. And I wanted to bring, on the last trip, I wanted to bring this landing site survey camera. Thank you very much. I do hope at least one can understand my English. Even though there might be some German accent still be, some German accent might still be left in me. Okay. The seismometer, we want to grab that as well, so I'm going to just switch this up a bit here. Because this is pretty nifty if we have that on the ground on the moon, since we can record impact data with that. And since I regularly drop stages onto the moon, there might be some new data to be gathered every now and then. Is there any other signs I can get from the moon? I mean, there's this. It's a bit big for my taste. Wasn't I supposed to get the static experiment? Static. Oh. I just made a screenshot, I'm sorry. I thought I got another experiment, but apparently I didn't. Okay, let's add an antenna here as well, which is the ground antenna, the ground plane antenna, which is pretty good here. Since we do have a relay satellite now, or two, we should have decent coverage all the time on the moon. Okay, this is pretty nice. And all I want now is electricity. Of course, electric charge is fairly important, and this probe body does not carry a lot of electricity. Okay, let's put it like that. And batteries, we got these new batteries today. Look, If I pop 2 of these on there, these are quite large. They do have 300 electric charge though, and they look quite nice. They look a lot better than the stock parts. If I do it like that, actually if I do put them a bit lower, I can still attach some solar panels above. And I'm gonna grab these solar panels, I guess, since I reckon the 1x6 is a bit better in terms of clearance. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that. That's a nice little neat lander. I might want to increase the delta V a bit here, so let me have a quick look. If I increase that to 270, this to 670, what do I get here? Oh, 660. So like 660. I do get not much more, but a little. Okay. It's pretty neat. Yeah, no, I don't have drills yet, so basically my attack tree is not far progressed yet, so this is literally just to say if I started 2 streams ago. Okay, let's retract these landing legs. That's a nice compact probe here. Very, very nice and compact. I need a name, of course. So the first one was the Frick, and I'm gonna say this is the Frick 2 because it is basically still a moonlander, and it's like a light version of the Frick probe we sent earlier. And of course we need the launch vehicle again, and I did click the wrong button, but good thing I saved. Here we go. Okay, let's move this up a little bit and open. Yeah, save and continue. And open the launcher and merge. Here we go. I need a transfer stage again, and I need a decoupler. I think that decoupler should be all right. Up. Okay. This is separate, and this is separate. Okay. And the payload fairings, let's put them on quickly, just to get a feel about it. Yep, that's pretty cool. Gonna adjust these a bit in a bit, but first of all I need a transfer stage. And this is gonna be a very basic transfer stage. It's gonna be this fuel tank. Actually, does it need to be that fuel tank? I think that fuel tank would be enough. Probably even that engine. That has 3000 delta V. This could get me anywhere basically. So, but this is a brand new engine I haven't used. This is 2nd generation. However, I'm interested in using, this is the Puck engine. I'm not sure where all these engines come from. Missing History. So this is Missing History engine, as well as the new textures I do have here for the Terrier engine and the Reliant and the Swivel. I do have brand new, beautiful new textures and models for these. But that Puck especially, I like that. And it does have a bit of delta V, a bit of liquid fuel and oxidizer, which might even allow me to shrink down that stage even more to like this. That's pretty neat. Only problem is, of course, this way it does not have any control, because I don't have RCS. I could put RCS on here. Let's do that. Let's take the procedural RCS tank here and oopsie. Let's change the size a bit. I don't need it that big. Can change that to the gray and orange theme. And this to some gray tank, whatever. Yeah. Now what I want to check here is the center of mass. Okay, this is fairly slightly above the line here. So, command and control, if I put some RCS ports on, right, I need to have a look into that right now. If I put them here and here, I guess I should have directional control. However, these are strong for the purpose here. I do have RCS thruster power of 2. So I think going with like a 30% throttled down version of these is plenty enough. Here we go, 30%. Can probably remove a bit of the RCS here. 300, that seems about right. Okay. So this is my little transfer stage, which does have... Now thinking about it. A little bit... It's a little bit short on fuel. Now I only have 1000 meters per second. And I do need to circularize with that. So let's just switch that up for the larger tank then. Yeah, I do still have plenty of thrust to weight, and if I do that I can properly align these. Okay, here we go. And payload fairing on. I needed the decoupler there. 1.25 decoupler. Let's enable the decoupler shroud and put on the gray interstage texture. Okay. Now, checking my staging. This is correct. This is correct. This is absolutely wrong. Oopsie. This is a separate stage. First separate these, then separate this, and ignite this. These will come before that. This, and this. So this is the Frick 2. That looks pretty good. What I want to work on is a common second stage and an upgraded first stage, or an upgraded, I guess, launch vehicle here, which we use. Because I think we can improve efficiency if we go with an asparagus style staging here, as well as getting maybe a bit more fuel efficiency in the long run. Just put that down a bit. I need that now high up. Here we go. Okay. Of course, this looks like a large rocket when you look at it for what kind of payload it's transferring. It's basically just this top payload here. But these engines are strong. Now I do have a thrust weight of 2.5 right now, 2.35 and 2.26. But this allows me to scale this up and get some more experience on these engines as well. So this is good. 11 days to build. This is pretty good. Most of the time to build will only be used for the probe up top. This one down here will probably be built quite fast. So let's put that into the build queue. And this is gonna be finished in a bit. In the meantime, I did get a new science experiment, right? Science. and got the RPCW. Now, we do have our neat little Apophis sounding rocket test vehicle for new experiments, which we could equip with that exact experiment to gather some more information. Let's do like that. Remove the experiments we don't need. All the experiments we already have gathered. And let's add in that brand new experiment. So this is... Oh, no. This is probably not correct. Hang on. This is a weird shape from an experiment. If I add that to there. And rotate that around. Yeah, my game's taken about 5 minutes to load now, or 6 minutes to start up at least. Due to the amount of mods I have installed, it's pretty bad. And the game is running on an SSD for me. So, okay, there is no possible way I can get this attached here in a proper way, so I just stick it on the outside and call it quits. Just hope it doesn't fly off. Which is pretty hopeless. It will fly off most likely, but maybe I can get some data from it. Okay. This is a quick sounding rocket. Let's put that into the build list, because that will gather us some more information from here. You can save that. Now let's go to our space center and have a quick look. We still have a reconditioning going. Let's finish this up, and then the Apophis has higher build priority. Okay. Very nice. We do not have enough science to do anything right now, so I'll just complete this. And roll that sounding rocket out. Here we go. Roll out started. Takes about 8 minutes to complete. And let's see. That Apophis sounding rocket system has provided us some very, very useful data so far. And I hope it will continue. However, this time we do have some weird aerodynamics with the outside. In terms of mod quantity, it just has been discussed in the chat. Maybe I could provide a little quick view into my game data folder here. Hang on. 20 is about what I do have as well. Let's see. This is my mod folder, by the way. So if anyone's interested, these kind of mods I do use. It's quite a large list of mods I do use, but I think they are worth it. Most of them are really worth it. And yeah, so let's get back to the game. Okay. This sounding rocket is here and ready for launch. We engage SAS, throttle up even though we don't need to, pull up the resource panel, and hang on. And 3, 2, 1, ignition. Here we go. So far it doesn't seem to have a big impact on the aerodynamics. Let's just hope it doesn't burn up on the way up, because this rocket has the bad habit of getting quite fast through the atmosphere. Let's hope it can hold up to these aerodynamic stresses. However, we need to get into space with that experiment, because this is a experiment that can only be run in space. Okay. And ignition of the second stage. So far everything is performing nominal. Kilometers up. I think we should be fine. We should be getting into space here. Let's do a little rotation here. Woo! Showing off the skills of that finely tuned rocket. This seems to be performing very well lately. This seems to be a well-balanced sounding rocket so far. Can pretty much lift any experiment into space, test it out, and recover it. Okay, let's extend our time a bit, so we do have a nice long flight through space. That's pretty good. Okay, we do have a nice and long space flight here. So we can toggle this and do the experiment. And we can transmit it. Okay, now let's time warp through it here. See if we get any other point where we can use that experiment. I don't think so. Nope. So let's retract this. We do have a part failure here, and it is the battery. Okay. Apparently we're all out of electric charge. This is not good. So what I have to do here is I have to arm the parachute now, because once I separate, I will not have any electric charge. All my remaining electric charge is coming from this battery down here. And I'm not able to repair that. And let's decouple and decouple. Let's hope we survive, I guess. Apparently I do have some electric charge left, like 7. Oh yeah, I have a bit left from what I do have in this capsule. Let's see, this might get destroyed here. Yep, that parachute activated way too early. So this is especially since I had enough electric charge left. This is bad. Well, I mean, this is why we test out this kind of stuff on our sounding rockets. This is already the 6th generation of the battery, and it just failed. Wow. Oh, hang on. This might have been reused a couple times already. Anyway, it exploded. Okay. Let's go back to the Space Center. We got some science here, though. Probably not much, probably like 10 science or so. Maybe, please. Yeah, 10 science. Which is still not enough. If we have a look, the next are either 45 or 60 or 90. And I either want this miniaturization one. This one is nice because of this one science experiment, which I'd like to have, but why didn't I see that experiment? Huh. Well, I don't know. Anyway, of course we could get into heavier rocketry and start getting some of these very, very neat parts. Propulsion systems feature some smaller rocketry for our probes. These kind of things I think are pretty nice. I think this is the stuff I might want to go for. I'll see about that. And on fuel tanks we do have some more. Oh, the Verona. This is all for the Venera program. We could send stuff to Eve. Speaking of sending stuff somewhere, I'm just gonna have a quick look into the tracking station. I do have a beautiful mod installed called Transfer Window Planner, which does help me creating transfer windows. So if I open this up and I say I want to go from Kerbin to Duna, right? In, let's say, the next 4 years. And I say plot it, it will give me the optimal launch window for the trip to the red planet. And this is perfect. So I see this is only 1,644 meters per second of delta V. This would call for a departure in year 3, day 307. So what I might just want to do is add that as a alarm clock, but I don't know yet. Also, we could also use, of course, which I just remembered, Kerbal Alarm Clock has a setting as well for a transfer window. If I say our parent is Kerbin, our parent is Sun, from Kerbin to Duna. The date would be tomorrow. What? Hang on. Oh. Yep. As it happens, we are in a transfer window right now for Duna, but we will miss this one. I cannot send anything there right now. Okay, that's it. That's very neat. Wow. That is a surprise. Anyway, so I'll just keep in mind to regularly check for transfer windows here, since we want to get some stuff out there. And let's go back to the construction time. Reconditioning the launch pad shouldn't take that long. Here we go, completion. And the Frick 2. The Frick 2 is being built right now. And it's gonna be completed in a few seconds here. There we go. So we can roll that out to the launch pad and launch it on the next morning. And we're going back to the moon, and this time we're gonna try to land one more time and hopefully not explode again. Since Our first attempt at a landing on the moon wasn't that great. Let's hope this one can pull it off better. Well, loading screen, and I hope that game didn't crash. It didn't. Perfect. I have to ignore this because if I press this, this experiment is getting useless, which I don't want to have happen. And I want to close that one up, and let's check the staging again. This is correct, 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 and all this is correct. SAS enabled, full throttle, resource panel up, ignition. Everything's performing nominal, release launch clamps, and liftoff. At about 60 to 70 meters per second, we're gonna start our pitch over. Throttle back a bit. And so far we have no errors on the rocket, no failures. Going through the clouds here. Everything is looking nominal. About 9 kilometers up. 500 meters per second. We're going supersonic now. And we can throttle back up. And getting ready for booster separation. And I'll see if I can figure out what is happening when I separate this time. I can't really. It seems to twist the rocket a bit. Anyway, I'm going way too fast apparently. Let's throttle back down a bit. Okay, now I can throttle back up. And separating payload fairing in 3, 2, 1. Go. Payload fairing are clear. And let's grab some more of that juicy velocity horizontally. And we have about 120 kilometers of apoapsis. Still have about 8 seconds of burn time in that stage. This might get a bit higher orbit, but I'm okay with that. 240 kilometer orbit. And release. Okay, and we're already in space. Let's see, if we add a maneuver here, add apoapsis to circularize. It's only about 300 meters per second of the about 2000 meters per second we do have. Throttle down and go to our maneuver node here. That looks pretty good. I just have to say sorry again because my keyboard, I know, is quite loud. These razor switches are not very quiet. These are quite loud actually, but you know, they are pretty nice, so I don't mind that, to be honest. Now the thing I have to think about now is, do I keep my solar panels retracted and potentially have a better landing, or do I extend these? Okay. And we have our circularization burn in 3, 2... No, hang on. Oh, I'm off here. 27 seconds total burn time. 3, 2, 1, and ignition. Here we go, burning. Looking good so far. No failures, and we have made orbit now. throttling back it just a tiny bit. 50 meters per second to go, and now I have to chase that around here. Okay, that's about right. I don't even... Yeah, that's good enough. 239 to 240. That's pretty good. There is the moon, and same spiel as always. Just gonna line these up, add the maneuver node, and burn prograde. Trying to adjust our orbits correctly, and then I use the prograde tool here to move it around and send it to the correct side of the moon. I'm just noticing we seem to have a bit of a weird orbit inclination. I don't know where that comes from. Did I do... Okay, am I... Okay, I'm in a slightly inclined orbit. However, this shouldn't be a big issue. Well... I mean, I don't really care. Let's just do it like that. Okay. That will destroy this transfer stage and allow me to get into orbit. Let's do it like that. It's only about 700 meters per second. Actually, I just noticed I don't want to destroy that transfer stage. I want to keep it. I want to start my retrograde burn with that one as well. So let's just get that into a proper orbit here. Let me test, check if I can adjust some of these a bit to get that orbit a bit better. Yeah, that's a bit better, I guess. Okay. What I will do is so extend all solar panels. I'm gonna keep these extended. Beautiful. So we have electricity and we have a 53-second burn at our maneuver node. So let's have a quick peek here. Where is it? Okay, and let's just warp here. Here we go, dark side of Kerbal. Looking good. And we're gonna do our burn on the dark side of Kerbal. We are approaching our maneuver node here. And this should get us in a decent orbit for landing, so we can pick a nice landing spot that we haven't been with the other lander, even though we didn't get any signs of, so I might just go wherever I go, basically. So, and I missed my maneuver node completely, because I didn't pay attention, but it's not bad. I'm just gonna have a quick look here where it will end up at, and I should be fine. Okay, looking good. Boosting our orbit out here. I have to pay attention. I'm gonna throttle back down here, so I don't want to overshoot too much. Still have to capture afterwards. Okay, continue to flip the orbit, and that's about right. That's pretty much spot on. And then we will add a maneuver at our periapsis here and circularize that orbit. That will take us about 200 meters per second, and we still have 900 left, so we can deorbit with this stage as well and bleed off some more delta V before we land. That's perfect. And I still have loads of RCS in here, which I didn't need since the reaction wheels in this seem to be very strong. Okay. Let's see about that here. And let's time warp forward here. This is the transfer to the moon. See you later, Kerbal. Hello, sun. And hello, moon. Nice to meet you again. It's been a long time. We're gonna basically fall into the sphere of influence of the moon very soon here. And this is gonna be in a few seconds. And once we're in the sphere of influence of the moon, and there we go. We don't really have to worry about a connection since we do have our 2 relay satellites. Speaking of connection, I might want to pop the antenna. I do have a weak signal. Or, well, I do still have a signal, so I'm okay. Warp there. This is a 15-second burn, and... Ooh! Okay, I don't have a signal. Okay, so basically, I think when this antenna isn't deployed, I don't have a signal. Let's just deploy that antenna then. Here we go. Yeah, okay, this is much better. 15-second burn. Warp to the maneuver node here. This is a retrograde burn to get us captured into orbit. Or we would get back into a orbit around Kerbal. And I'm just gonna time warp a bit forward, and I missed the maneuver node again, but you know, I'm not the best or the most accurate pilot, but I kind of enjoy it. I used to play a lot of with MacJeb, which I still totally get why people do it, since it's much more comfortable doing that, but I started enjoying flying myself very much lately. Okay, here we go. So now I have the option to land on the far side of the moon, or to time warp forward and land on the regular, basically the face side of the moon. I think we might land on the far side here. Let me see if what does happen, just in case. Let's warp here. Do I still have signal when I go back there? No. Why? Why can I not connect to one of these probes? Because none of these probes have a connection right now. Okay, it is correct. Yeah, okay. Now they do. Okay, so there is some bad constellations, but I don't have connection, so I really want to land on the bright side here. Okay. Let's just warp forward a bit then. Of course, that moon needs many more satellites to have a proper coverage of satellites to provide full coverage of the moon. However, the 2 satellites we do have, they help quite a lot. Okay. Okay, that is interesting. And I think this is about the time when we decide where we want to go. And I think I'm gonna put my maneuver node here and start the deceleration. Just gonna move this a bit around. Hang on. Add a maneuver here and burn retro. Yeah, so that will end up being about there. Yeah, that seems good. So let's warp to the maneuver node. This seems a bit aggressive to warp, but doesn't need to be the most precise, I guess. Here we go, 5-second burn. Oh, nothing happened. Here we go. Let's point towards the maneuver node. And basically warp. And there we go. Can start burning now, basically. I want to burn a bit more because this will basically raise my orbit again once I separate. So you can see that put my orbit a bit higher again. So perfect. We are separated and we are on course to land on the light side of the moon, and we should be fine. We should have enough sunlight to land here, I hope. And I'm just gonna warp here because we're way up. Way up. Okay. This is about the time where I don't want to warp that much. And get us self-pointed retrograde here. There we go, there's the retrograde marker. And I might just want to toggle my gear, landing legs already. So, we have 831 meters per second. We do have 500 meters per second right now. If my math isn't wrong, which it probably is. Heck, just send the data before we die. Let's see. We will. We still have an altitude of 50 kilometers, so it's still quite high up. 30 kilometers. Let's start to burn a bit. We want to get rid of some of the horizontal velocity. I need to keep in mind, of course, that we have a slim margin, so we shouldn't be playing too much around. Right now we have... Oh, this is gonna be tight. If you add up these velocities, this is very close. Okay, you see we got the impact timer now. This will help us guessing where we should burn and when we should burn, but of course it's not perfect. Basically what we want to have is a vertical velocity of 0 meters per second and the horizontal velocity on landing of about 1 meter per second. Or 2, maybe 3. Yeah, maybe 5, but not more. As you can see, I have to hold that marker myself. Let's try to get rid of more of the vertical, horizontal velocity here. Okay, I have 200 meters per second left. This is gonna be very, 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 very close. But I think we should be fine, and I should land in a nice spot. Don't tell me that is the other probe over there. Nah, it can't be, right? This is just some kind of rock. My ice played jokes on me here. Okay. There we go. Our horizontal velocity is down to 10 meters per second here. So this is about when we want to start really just putting down on this marker here. Okay, we're landing right now. Oh god. Ooh, this is gonna be tight. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I mean, I might have underestimated something there. Interesting enough, we got thrown up into the air. Let's see how fast we will impact the second time, on if we are able to maybe land here. I doubt it, because this is going to be another 13 meters per second impact. Well, I mean, I guess you could call it a landing. Our science instruments are still there, our communications is there. I call this a success. We only have 10 electric charge though, which means I can basically transmit nothing. Well, I mean, let's see. Oh yeah, that's about nothing. So when we say require complete to allow partial, and then say seismic scan, transmit data. We're gonna send this data in bits, in pieces. This is gonna make this wonderful sound. I hope you... Hang on, I'm gonna have to turn that off. Mute. Thank you. I added some science though. So that's the thing, we can only send out partial science here. Just gonna send as much science as we can in bits and pieces. But I mean, it was not a perfect landing, but we got there somehow. Okay, this is pretty much all the science we're gonna get from this. So... farewell, Frick 2, you did a little better than your big brother, but yeah, you didn't do that great either. I hope you enjoy your slow death here on the moon. Let's go back to the Space Center. We should have some tasty, tasty science. Okay. 261 science from a lander that basically had 10 electric charge and needed about a month to transmit data. That's pretty good, actually. What can we do with that? General construction. As I said, there is really just one part I'm interested in. This is the top soil scoop. But I'm really interested in that one. Aviation, I couldn't care less apart from the winglet, really. Enhanced survivability would give me access to the first crude capsules. Pretty cool, but nope. Miniaturization we're gonna pick up. Space exploration. This does have the experiment storage unit and a telescope. That's pretty cool. It does have the... okay. That's pretty cool stuff here. This is science and probe stuff, dust collectors, gamma ray spectrometer. I'm gonna pick that up. Even though it's weird that we gonna have some space station parts, even though we don't even have like crude. I'm just gonna pick that crude stuff up anyway now, and that's pretty much all I can get. But this will give me some more science that will be useful for more probes to be sent out to other planets. Very nice, beautiful. Now, this was a good mission for now, but I think there is some more stuff that we can do. So a quick look at how we look right now. Of course, we have our two things here around the Kerbal. And to be honest, Kerbal, we have science from Kerbal, but I think there's some stuff we could do at Kerbal. We do have some science from the moon. And just to have a look, these are the two Frick probes we landed. Frick 1 is there and Frick 2 is there. So actually we landed very, very close to each other there. Wow, I didn't see that one. I guess I'm gonna send out a third lander to get another biome. And this time I'm gonna try to do like a combination of lander and orbiter. So a part that will orbit probably in like this kind of orbit, and then a lander that will land about in one of the top parts of the moon. But we're gonna build this after a short little break. It's gonna take about 6 minutes, 5 minutes or so. And then I'll be back with you in very, very, very few minutes. So stay tuned, and I'll have some tunes for you. And then we will build the next probe for the moon. Holy Moses. I'm sorry, I just noticed that I have been playing and have not been, and I had my microphone muted. Okay. Wow. Wonderful. I'm sorry. Hope that wasn't too long of a time that I played and haven't said anything. Basically what we're doing here, we're building a lander and an orbiter in one. For the moon, we're going to send this to the moon, and this part is going to stay in orbit as a communications relay, and it's going to have one more experiment on it. And then we're going to have pretty much the same lander again to send to the surface of the moon and gather more information, and this time hopefully land without exploding. At least this is the plan. It does have pretty much the same delta V, which, come to think about it, is a bit risky. So let's just increase that a bit. Okay. Mic check, can you hear me? Just making sure that I have not muted my mic still. Wow, this is bad. Sorry for the amateur hour here. But now it should work again. You should be able to hear me. Ah, perfect. Okay. Thank you very much for giving me a notice, because I was really too focused on playing, and I was speaking the entire time, but I didn't really pay enough attention, I guess. So, yeah, sorry about that. About that little snafu there. Okay, so this is the orbiter and the lander probe. So these are, let me calculate. This is Loki 3 and Loki 3 and Frick 3, actually. So these are the third orbiting and the third lander for the moon. Neat. So these are, of course, still use, yep, safe, the same launch vehicle as always. And now I do need a interstage or a transfer stage, of course, again. Coupler first. The coupler can enable the shroud. Seems to fit relatively good. I'm just gonna add a little bit of extra radius to make sure that nothing is gonna be ripped off by our fairings. And we're gonna add the 2 fairing sides here. That's pretty good. Okay. So this seems to be all right. And there is no place for flat earthers on this channel, so I'm very, very sorry, but you will be timed out. Okay, back to the regular scheduled program here. after we have dealt with these flat earthers that seem to have no life and need to come to some guy streaming a video game to pretend that the earth is flat, of course. Some people are just stupid and yeah. Anyway, let's continue here on our quest to the moon to get more science. I think I need the Terrier engine on this stage, on the transfer stage, but that should be fine. If we do this, we can circularize with that, can we? Should be able to. No, math. Maths is not my strong suit. Let me quickly put some more fuel in here. Just in case. 500 meters per second. Do I have a probe core to control this? Not really. The thing is, I don't want to leave any space debris behind, really. That's not what I like to do. So we will see. Gonna use some RCS, of course. Okay, we got that. This, and separate this, ignite this, separate this, ignite this. Pretty good. Let's put on the fairings. And these will come here, and these will be on this stage, yep. And coupling decouplers on there. By the way, I forgot to change this, of course, to our gray and orange theme, as we like it over here. And this gets the decoupler shroud as well in a dark gray theme. I am friendly, but I don't give a damn about anyone's stupid opinion that is wrong. And if you want to propagate something that is not correct, please don't do it on my channel. Okay? Thank you. Okay. Back at it again here. Like I said, I do not tolerate any stupidity on my channel. The Earth is not flat, the Earth is round. If you say anything else, I don't know what happened to you in your childhood, but something is very, very much wrong with you. So, yeah. That's all I say about that, and let's continue here on our quest. This will take 15 days to build. Let's check the staging, because I think that is incorrect now. Yes, it is. We need to change this to there. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a separate stage. Yeah, well, you know. Anyway. I'm not gonna spend much more time on these guys. And this is a separate stage. So we have this separation. Then we're gonna separate the side boosters. Now let me check, because for some weird reason these induce some kind of spin into my rocket once I separate them. I do not know why. Is that possible that these are off center? I don't know. Anyway, this is separation there. We're gonna do this before, then separate this, ignite this, separate. Wait. ignite, separate, ignite, separate, ignite. That's the way we want to do it. Okay. And we still have plenty of velocity and delta V to do what we need to do, I think, which is pretty nice. Without having to change our launch configuration here. Nice. Okay. This is gonna get its orbit, and this is gonna finish the orbit probably. If possible, this is gonna land. Okay. Let's build this. It's gonna take 15 days and 9 minutes. And this time we're gonna time warp to the conclusion of the build. And Kerbal Construction Time. VAB. Oh, we have some tech that will finish earlier. Too bad. In the meantime, I should spend some money on my upgrades. I have 10 upgrade points available. So let's do this. Okay. This should increase our build time. And we will be done with the construction in just a few seconds. And we're gonna time warp to the next morning. We're gonna launch for the moon one more time. When I say one more time, this means one more time for our moon program. Our moon program consisted of 5 launches so far. 4 launches? 5 launches? I'm confused. I think 5 launches because 1 failed. So this is going to be the 6th launch in our moon program. And our unmanned moon program, I have to say. And of course, there is still some science to be gathered at the moon, but I think we need to set our sights after this mission to our next neighbor, which is of course Minmus. So this is gonna be, for now, the last probes we're gonna send to the moon. And then we're gonna go to Minmus. And maybe start our manned program or Kerbal program in between, I don't know. Maybe do like a Gemini style program. Or first of all Mercury, I guess. Okay. Throttle up, SAS enabled resource panel is on. Ignition. Let's have a look. Nothing breaks. Lift off. Everything is nominal so far. And we're gonna start our, I guess, roll? I don't know, is that roll? Not really. Let's just say our gravity turn. And throttle down a bit so we don't lose too much to drag. I really like this launch system. This is working very, very well. Hasn't failed me yet too badly. Apart from, I think, the first launch where it kind of flipped out a bit, but I managed to recover it. Which is pretty neat. Now, I just noticed a big problem. I just noticed a huge problem. And I didn't even think about it since I was too distracted. We don't have any batteries or solar panels on our lander. So If we have a look, our lander does not have anything. So this is basically gonna crash into the moon and just be dead. Of course, I'm still gonna continue this mission since we're still sending an orbiter. But this means this is not gonna be our last mission to the moon, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Let's get us into orbit here first. Get some more horizontal and vertical velocity, because I need some more height here before my stage runs out of fuel. Very nice. There is a way to maybe... I don't know. Let's separate. And ignite that engine. And we want to circularize at our apoapsis. Circularize, that's going to be 500 meters per second. Pretty good. We had part failure, we are losing liquid fuel, so I'm just gonna have to burn here to circularize. Can I do the... Hang on. How are we? Oh no. This is terrible. Oh, this is nothing I can do here. Literally nothing I can do. If I burn apoapsis here, I'll miss the moon. We are draining our liquid fuel. Well, I mean, I guess it's back to the drawing board with this one. Let's see, maybe we can get at least that probe into orbit. Hang on, if I dump this, because I don't need that. So I have a probe that is as light as possible, right? So it's just this part here, basically. Can I put this into a 200 kilometer orbit around Kerbal? At least I have a communication satellite then. I can. You know, you gotta try to make the best of a failure here, I guess. But, I mean, another science relay won't hurt us. So, this is pretty okay. Let's go there. Also, there's an we do have an experiment which we could do here. Yep. So that's some bonus. At least we get some science. Ow, that was a failure, wasn't it? So that was a fuel leak basically in our transfer stage, which was a big fuel leak as well, because that went down very quick. So we're just waiting for our maneuver here. And ignition. We're in a circular orbit of about 200 kilometers once we're finished here. Okay. Throttling back down a bit. And this is looking okay. As you can see, We're definitely not at the moon. But we're at the second best thing we can get, which is Kerbin. Let's switch to this here, to our debris. I want to see it burn up. That stupid stage that failed us. I want to see it explode. Here we go, re-entry in a few seconds, and here we go. And let's time warp through this. I want to see it getting absolutely wrecked. There we go, re-entry. Come on, burn up, please burn up. Now, if it doesn't burn up, I think we should think about recovering stages now. This is quite a tough little stage. Oh, okay, there's the explosions. Oh, this might be the lander. And there's the overheat. Here we go, yes. Come on, overheat. Oh, nope, it's not gonna overheat. Okay. Here we go. We'll just drop into the ocean at a nice 200 meters per second, please. And here we go. Bam! Okay, that's good. Let's go to the tracking station, and we're gonna rename that probe that is in orbit now, since it's not what it is anymore. Yeah, that's pretty good though. I mean, that's another communications relay here. Really helps some, I guess. Can I rename probes from here? No, I can't. Because I want to rename these to relay, or reclassify these as relays, since these are basically not probing anymore, they're just relaying information. And we're gonna rename that to, change that to relay and go back to the tracking station. And we're gonna do the same on the Loki 2. And then we're gonna go back to the drawing board and switch up some of the stuff that we have messed up there. And rename this to relay. Thank you. Go back to the tracking station. And this needs a new name. I don't know. This is complicated. Since this is not really where it is supposed to be, this isn't really the Loki 3. This Loki has taken the wrong exit, basically. So how about do I just keep that as... We're just gonna keep it as Loki 3, but that's gonna be the relay here. And is there any science to be done? No, it seems not. Okay. Seems like you can run that experiment only once. Okay. So this is just gonna stay here in orbit as a science relay. Let's go back to our Space Center and while we're at it, we could finish our research here. Let's do this. And in the meantime, we could also start the next. Not really, because we only have 45, and what we could get for that is, like I said, this one, which is just a few couplers. Well, and the thrust plate, which is This is not bad, actually. And these are stack adapters that are radially attached. You know what? I'm just gonna grab that. Especially since there's one science experiment I really, really want. Let's go to completion here, please. Thanks. Okay. And let's go back to the drawing board there and fix the few little issues we had with our lander there. This is, of course, still Loki 3 and still Frick 3, because Loki 3, that used to be Loki 3, but down here, is now a relay around Kerbal, and it's not going to be officially counted as the Loki that went to the moon. And this is going to be probably what we're going to do with solar panels here. We don't need the huge solar panels on this one. And we're just going to put 2 batteries on here, and we're just going to grab them and push them in a little. Yep, like that. And retract these. These still fit. And how are we looking on delta V here? 1000 meters per second. That is about right, I guess. Extra radius we still have on here. That's good. And now we have solar on this. We do have the electric batteries on there, so we can actually do that. We should be fine on this side. And this one was already pretty good. Let's have a quick look, because we just finished some stuff. We get a few more experiments we could actually take with us on our tour to the moon. I mean, while we're at it, we might as well add some stuff to our orbiter here. Let's could use these. I don't know if we have these at the moon already, but I guess not. Can't remember at least, so I'm just gonna grab them. Here we go. This is signals. This is the same. The return capsule. That's an infrared spectrometer. Do we have space for that on here? It needs a bit of space. Let's see. Do it like that. Can I do it like that? I sure can. And this can be attached to this one, I guess. Gonna remove the antenna here and attach this over there. Well, that's cool. Oh, that's super cool. That is amazing. Okay, and do you want to do this? Get these out a little bit. And then we need to grab the antenna and put it on there. Since this deploys like that, just gonna make sure that it's not gonna hit when this other thing extends. Okay, that seems good. Okay. Okay, that seems good to me. Let's pack this up. But we change much in terms of size, a bit, but it should be fine. Okay. Not much change overall here. Looking pretty good. And save this. And put it into the construction queue. And now, this is in the construction queue. This is gonna take around, I guess. Oh, let's warp to completion of this first. This is gonna take 13 days to finish. And we will launch this vehicle right after a very, very short break of about 5 minutes or so. And then we're gonna launch this you know what? I think we're gonna launch this right away. Let's do it. Come on. I want to get something on the moon for real now. We have sent 2 lander probes, both of which have just exploded. And I finally want to get success. Okay, here we go. Construction is almost done, and then we have to roll it out. And keep in mind, we're still in year 1 of our science save here. So in terms of our moon program, which we have pretty much nailed in our first year here, that's pretty damn good. What I of course didn't do right away was check my staging. Let's warp to the next morning and have a quick look at the tracking station. And I don't want to do the same mistake again, even though we do have some relays around the moon this time. But we're at a good launch window here for the moon. Let's go. Webby and launch. Like I said, I don't want to do the same mistake here. Gonna have to check my staging because I haven't checked that in the VAB. Even though nothing major should have changed. So we're gonna ignite these. This is alright. Separate this. See, there's one problem. Separate, deploy, decouple, activate, decouple, activate, decouple, activate. Now this should be okay. Let's activate SAS, throttle up, and ignition. Everything seems nominal, and release the launch clamps, lift off. Gonna start with our pitch here. Throttle back a bit. Approaching supersonic speeds. Going through the clouds. As you can see, we have some aerodynamic drag here. Or some aero effects at least. Throttle up, full throttle. We are getting a bit hot. Decouple. This, of course, rolled us again a bit. surely correct that quickly here. And get back on it. Full throttle. Fairing deployment went well. And our apoapsis is in space, so we can now start going much more sideways to get much more velocity. Of course, I want to keep in mind that I don't drift off too much in terms of inclination here. Kind of want to get a about 0.0 inclination if possible. And there we go. Let's decouple this, activate this engine. That has put us in a 112 kilometer orbit, which should be fine for our purposes here. Actually, I want to push this above 120, since 120 is one of the barriers for time warping. And so I want to do this properly there. We want to do that at the apoapsis and circularize. Thank you, game. Let's see. 29-second burn, and let's do this 15 seconds before our maneuver node. Here we go. And ignition. This is looking good this time. No major failures so far. Just a tiny little snafu earlier, I think. I still can't figure out why, when I separate my boosters, why the whole rocket seems to behave a little bit weird. But I guess that's not a big deal. I seem to find a solution to that always. Okay, we are in a 120 kilometer orbit, set for the moon again. And this time, ooh, this is gonna be a quick one. And focus view. And let's get this corrected here. That seems about right. And we're almost at that maneuver node. That's why I had to get that done quickly here. And let's extend our solar panels here. Here we go. And extend this antenna and extend this antenna. Gotta keep in mind I have to burn in a few seconds. And then we can see about maybe landing this for real this time. Okay. Here we go. Burn initiated. Now I have a Now I'm just gonna dump this into the ground of the moon and then finish up with the satellite as the stage that will basically circularize our orbit at the moon. Let's transmit some data here. Free data is always good. And throttle down. We are at 100 meters per second to target velocity, and throttle further down, and there is the orbit. And this is a bit close here, because I want to have that crash into the moon basically. Okay, here we go. And this is pretty much perfect. Did I make a Did that not decouple? Okay. This is behaving very weird. Why on earth is this? Okay. Well, this is a problem. This is a big problem. Since I haven't lost any weight here. And this thing causes me to... Ah, okay. Well, I had to be a bit cheaty there to get rid of that. Sorry about that. Hang on, I want to change my inclination a bit. So if I go like that. Alright, hang on. Warp here. In the meantime, we're just doing some science here. But I want to change the inclination of my orbit. So I'm just gonna do this. Basically, put it down a bit. Add a maneuver, add periapsis to circularize. Okay. Question why I did that? Pretty easy answer. I want to get more coverage of the moon in terms of our ComNet. Let's warp in there. Okay, there's some signs I missed, I guess, but nah, what you gonna do? So we don't have the same staging mishap now as we had earlier, or that we don't have it later, because we're approaching a super duper eclipse again. That's just beautiful. At least we do have some signal coverage. Okay. Here we go. 50 seconds. 40, and here we go. Ignition for our for our capture burn here. Oh, look at this. Look at that eclipse. Isn't that beautiful? Wow. Okay. We are getting closer and closer to our orbit here, and I think I'm gonna drop it down, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it like that. We'll just see. Okay, 70 meters per second. "20 seconds to go. And that's about right. I'm gonna leave it here and just gonna check if I add a maneuver to land. This is gonna be about 100 meters per second that I will need for our deorbit burn, which is pretty good. Also, if I decouple that retrograde, I think I should be fine. Okay, let's time warp a bit, because I'm not gonna try to land during an eclipse again. And went terribly last time. So, yeah. Beautiful. This is where we're gonna do that. Let's decouple. Okay. And ignition. Let's have a quick look. Where do we want to go down? I think if I go here, add a maneuver to go retrograde, this should put me like there, which is nice. Yep. Okay, like that. Let's warp to the maneuver node. It's a 15-second maneuver. That really doesn't need to be perfect, it's just our deorbit. Just wanted to get a rough idea out on how much delta we are gonna need. Okay, here we go. So, we do have about 930 meters per second left. And for now, let's point ourselves like this. Let's get a little bit closer. Okay, something is stopping my time warp. Okay. It wanted to let me know that our launch pad has been reconditioned. That's nice of our launch pad, but we are currently trying to land on the moon. Okay, this is about, I want to pay some attention to what I'm doing, really. Gonna put myself on the marker. Try to kill as much of our horizontal velocity as possible. And let's get surface information up here. I don't need that orbital information. Okay. I might have time warped a bit too much there. Actually, according to the suicide burn here, that it's telling me we're not too badly off. We'll see about that. This is definitely an interesting area with all the craters and stuff. It's a very rough patch of the moon here, definitely. Okay. Here we go. Horizontal velocity is down to about 6 meters per second, 5 meters per second. It's pretty much good. No, I just want to basically coast toward the ground. And decelerate a bit. Okay, this is the landing, and hopefully works. Almost. No, no, bouncy, and touchdown. We have landed on the moon. Congratulations. Let's grab the data. Okay, let's time warp a bit here. Whoa, that just bounced us up. God damn it. Why did that just happen? Yeah, God thank you. God damn it. These landing legs are just the worst. Not gonna use them anymore. I'm just gonna sit on that engine, I guess. Okay. Deploy that antenna. We're just gonna sit like that. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn down this. This is rather annoying. And I cannot time warp for some reason. Oh yeah, because we're rolling down the terrain. Oh, perfect. Oh god. Just stop breakdancing, probe. Please. Will you please stop breakdancing now? There we go. This is never gonna be charged. Oh, it is. Okay. And we just bounced up again. Okay. And we did another jump. Because the gravity of this moon seems to be completely messed up. Who knows what's up with that? Well, I mean, I'm just gonna roll it on its side somehow and leave it like that. Okay, we have said allow partial, so let's transmit. Okay, I think we do have some signs. Now, I don't know, I think these landing struts are just terrible, and maybe they're too close together, and the probe is too light for this kinda gravity, I don't know. But it doesn't seem to be very friendly towards me. Currently, we do not have any probe control because of reasons, I guess. Okay. Let's rename this. This is Frick 3. So far we have managed to demolish every probe we sent. I think I need to work on that. But now I can go and rename the other relay, because that is successfully delivered into the moon's orbit, I think. That has not failed us. So this is the Loki 3. And this is the relay. But this is... We're going to have a quick look, because this might have some more. Rename. This is just the Loki 3 probe. And this might have some more science we can do around the moon. So I'll just time warp a bit, and we have the first antenna that stopped working, because why would it? Okay. Hang on, can I repair that? See, you can repair parts. Huh, okay, this worked. I could repair it. And I'm just gonna quickly go back to the Space Center, since there seems to be no science to be gathered right now. Okay. So, going back to the Space Center now and having a quick look, how much science did we gather here? Another 250 science gathered from this mission. So this will enable us to go for some heavier rocketry, advanced fuel systems, or fuel systems and advanced construction if we want to. This would enable us to dock things, which is pretty cool. Docking is nice. That's only the docking port junior though. Okay, there's some neat parts. Some more probe parts. Let's see. Heavy rocketry is neat, but nothing special. Propulsion systems is pretty cool, especially since we would get the spark engine, some probe, fuel tanks. We're gonna take this. And this would enable us some more RCS, which I think is something we might want to look into. And landing. This would enable better landing gears. Huh. That's also pretty cool. Let's see. This is adding just a few engine ports, which are nice, and the fins. Fuel systems is fuel tanks. Fuel tanks. Basically fuel tanks. These are cheap, so I'm gonna grab these as well. Okay, so this is in our science queue. We're still in year 1 of our space program. And let's have a quick look at our tracking station, at what we have done today. So far we have sent today a new Loki probe to the moon, which successfully orbits the moon right now and acts as well as a relay satellite, as well as gathering some data. We landed the Frigg 2, very close to the Frigg 1, but it was a partial failure since some stuff blew up, but we were able to gather science. We launched the Loki 3, the first Loki 3, but due to a fuel leak, we weren't able to get it into our desired orbit, so we parked it as a relay satellite around Kerbin. And we sent the Frigg 3 lander and the Loki 2 probe in one launch. Now we had 2 attempts at this, like I said, and this one was successful, delivering the probe into an inclined orbit around the moon, functioning as a science and relay satellite, as well as the Frigg lander, which, as you can see, is also very, very close to the other 2. So there's probably much more science to be gathered at the moon still. So these are our 3 landers and our 3 orbiters around the moon right now. as well as our 2 orbiters. Well, kind of 3 orbiters that we have right now around Kerbin. Pretty successful, and I'd say that was a nice little 3 hours of Kerbal here. We do have some science cooking right now here in our build list. So that was successful, and I think we're done for today. I recommend all you guys to have a quick look, because SpaceX is supposed to launch the Bangabandhu 1 today, which will be the first launch of a Block 5 Falcon 9. So this might be quite exciting to watch. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you a nice evening. So from Dr. Kartoffelsalat, I say goodbye.